Thank you, Mr. Lozon, for coming here today. My name is Willis, and I've been living in Cornwall and practicing law in Cornwall for many years. And I take perhaps a different viewpoint or a different interest of things than some of the younger people here at this table. I hear your comments about how well Canada performed during the recent economic downturn. And we did perform very well. We were a global leader, and we're very fortunate to live in the country that we do live in. Canada outperformed many other nations, every other nation, I think. And we were well positioned for that, and we were well positioned because of steps that our government took. And some of the steps that it took were difficult. They were hard decisions, but the government and the citizens of Canada over the years have stepped up to the plate and accepted responsibility to do some of the things which need to be done. And one of the most important things is the paying down not just of the deficit but of debt. And I think you mentioned that before the bad times hit us, the government paid down some $40 billion of debt. That's not deficit, that's debt. That is so critical. Because as long as that looming debt is there on the horizon, coming at us like a hurricane, it'll be our legacy to our grandchildren. And there's so many other things that come into play, including the CPP issues that were just discussed, including the unfunded retirement plans of millions of boomers who are about to retire, or maybe not about to retire, depending on the state of the economy. I think, though, that the main point I want to make is that paying down the debt is really, really critical. And with all due respect to our government, I'm a little skeptical or perhaps jaded as to the promise that the deficit will be eliminated by a certain date. I hope it does. I hope it does happen. I hope that the government comes through with that promise and doesn't just stop there, but addresses the debt that is still looming on the horizon. That is unhealthy for I suggest, for any government. And for those of you who watched the news last night, the CBC News, will have seen that there's a lot of unfunded liabilities among municipalities and states and the federal government down in the United States. They talked about Pritchard, the city of Pritchard in Alabama, and one day they just decided, we're going to stop paying our pensioners. Just like that. Right, we're going to stop paying our pensioners. And that can have resounding impact, and the more healthy our economy at the time that ripple hits us, or maybe tsunami hits us, the better off we're going to be. So from my point of view, and I think most other business people agree with me, paying down that deficit and then the debt is critical and just has to happen, and we need more than lip service to that. The other point that I'd like to address, and it was brought up earlier, you brought it up, was the home renovation tax credit. And that, it really did wonderful things, I think, for the economy. It did great things for the homeowner. It did great things for the construction industry, for people who work in that sort of thing. It helped do-it-yourselfers. And perhaps the government should be looking at that type of program. It's a wonderful investment in your own home, in your own investments, and I suggest that the government look at that sort of thing to stimulate the economy, to encourage growth, so that little guys like those of us around the table can see a light at the end of the tunnel instead of a train coming at us.
Thank you very much, Guy, for your comments. You swear that I were reading my script. I was.
No, I wasn't.
But you know, when I was first involved in politics in 2000, I ran as an alliance candidate. I was shocked to realize that at that time, 35% of every tax dollar that I sent to Ottawa was going to service the debt. 35%. Now, if you try to run your household budget with that kind of an interest, you know, and it's just being less than 35 cents. So, you know, being a conservative, we are against debt, okay? And that's why we think if you have surpluses, because as a result of overtaxation. So we try to come as close as possible with the taxation and to keep taxes as low as possible. We are determined to pay that debt, and going forward, that's why we're going to be the leader, I think, in the world, is because of the philosophy we have that A, we want the lowest tax rate of any country so that we attract investment.
That's important.
And B, that spreads the tax. We actually have more tax revenue. Since we've lowered corporate tax, our revenue from corporations, our tax revenue has increased. It's not rocket science, it works. You know, you spread the load and you get more money income. So and it's going to happen. We are going to bounce that budget by 2015, and the next priority is to pay down the debt. If you recall, the previous government was taking the debt, the surplus. If they had an $8 billion surplus, they were taking $4 billion to put on the debt, and the other $4 billion for programs. We don't agree with that. We think that we should lower the debt, and once the debt is manageable, then we start working at social programs. So don't forget, we didn't have debt until in the 60s is when we started having debt. This country was debt-free, and here we are with this huge debt. So I agree with you 100%. I've made that point many times with the finance minister. I'm glad that that I can bring that to him again, and I'm sure Eric has taken note of that. The home renovation tax credit program, like I said, I took advantage of it myself. It was the most popular program you could imagine. The problem is it cost $4 billion. Now, if we were, and we came close to renewing that. We had some serious discussions about renewing that. All our constituents were saying, hey, keep it going. We wanted to keep it going as members until it was costed, and we realized that it would cost $4 billion. And in this environment, economic environment, we don't have $4 billion to invest in that. Going forward, there might be, and the budget, this has been made repeatedly to the finance, there might be a variation of that. Hopefully there'll be something. But it's a wonderful program. It creates employment, and it's just like infrastructure. It creates employment immediately, but then, like I put a tin roof on my house. That's good for 50 years. It's like an infrastructure. That arena, that sports complex is going to last for 50 years. So it's a good investment. So it's a great program, and you're preaching to the converted. We want it as much as anyone.
Well, thank you. And if the government does look at that, I suggest the government consider the job creation that will arise from that. And perhaps you can put a $4 billion price tag on it, but perhaps also you can look at it and say, wait a minute, this is a great program because it costs this small business to hire 2 people, and that small business to hire 1, and the next small business to hire 3 people.
You know, another neat side benefit of this is that it brought a lot of a lot of the underground economy above ground, because people, if you got a contractor to do work on your home, he had to be registered and pay taxes in order to do the work so that you could qualify. So that was another benefit of it.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.